Hey Megan,
Hey, Steph.
how you doing there, young lady?
Living the dream.
Yeah, enjoy our little rainstorm we had on Saturday.
No, it really upset me.
Yeah, that was good times. Come on, you loved it.
No, it was terrible. I made some shorts
Doing what? Of
of
what?
it.
Showing
Yeah,
everybody how much the rain.
yeah, we had monsoons and we have our water management problem that we've been working on. So I think
Yeah, we got a
we're
lot of rain. We got an inch. It might, you know.
I think we're 80% of the way there. Now we got to add cement and gutters.
Oh boy. So do you have some roofing?
Yeah, we have a little awning now.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Looking forward to seeing that.
yeah, it's good times.
Look who I see, Megan. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, who do you see?
I see
Yay!
Allie.
Hey,
Okay, hang on,
Allie.
Megan.
Hey.
Megan, hold on.
Oh,
We got a sandwich alley.
oh, hey, Allie. How are ya?
I was honestly just in a tree picking grapes for my parents' homemade wine, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to go!"
That is awesome.
Like my
You were
hands are like, oh, they don't even show it anymore. Like they're really like purple from picking grapes, but I'm great otherwise.
That's awesome.
Do you eat them? Do you mash them? Turn them into wine?
We turn them into wine. We make about like 400 bottles a year of our own
Oh,
homemade
Wow.
wine from just like the wild grapes that grow on the trees around here. So
do
Wow.
you
yeah,
stomp them?
no, we don't. We just take them to like an orchard press, and they after they do all their apples, they do the grapes.
So we
Do
can
So
you?
come over and get in our
you can
bare
come over
feet and
anytime. Our
stomp
big
on them.
horse trial that we run is next weekend, and so we always are like trying to
Oh,
like the grapes are just happen to be ready at the same time. And so we're like out there with like a bunch of our boarders like feverishly picking grapes. And then we're also like setting for the horse trial this weekend that we run. Like the big
oh,
Wow.
national horse trial.
is it on Sunday?
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, dressage. Oh my god.
Steph,
Dressage
we
is
should go.
what was that?
We should go. Can we
You
come?
absolutely. We have 150 entries. We have a wait list this year. We run dressage and the lower level show jumping is Friday. Cross country is all day Saturday, and then it's upper level show jumping on Sunday. So
That's
yeah,
Sunday.
show up.
We can
Saturday.
come on
Saturday.
Sunday.
Yeah, because
Saturday.
you guys are
Saturday.
Wisconsin, right? You guys are Wisconsin locals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, come on over if you need the address. Like look it up.
Megan,
Sundays
cross
Farm,
country on Saturday. We got to
cross
find a
country
way.
Saturday. You have to come. It's going to
On
be amazing. The jumps are beautiful. Our course designer is a very good friend of mine from Maryland, Dave Taylor. He comes early because he's like, this is like a family thing, and I'm part of the family. So like he's out there picking grapes with us today. We were moving jumps earlier. Like it's so fun. It's
that
so fun.
is so
Yeah,
cool.
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
So
So tell us about how do you house? What did you say you had 120 or 150
we have
entries?
150 entries. So we run starter novice, beginner novice, novice, training level, modified, and preliminary. So,
Wow.
and a lot of people use our farm. Have either of you ever been here before?
I don't think
no.
so.
Okay, so a lot of people will use our course as like their 2-star prep because our we have so many hills and like for prepping for me Kentucky, like I used our stuff. I just used the prelim jumps and set them on the hills and made it hard. And Dorothy and Kathy were like, "Yeah, you don't need to go anywhere. You have it at home." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yep, sure do."
Bonus. Bonus.
So we set
That
it
is
all here, and
so
it's
cool.
yeah,
Wow.
we love it. It's super stressful up until the show starts, and then it's great and it's fun. But like until the show starts, it's like pure chaos. So,
So
but we
tell
love
our
it.
audience, how long has your family been running the horse trials?
I think it's
Actually,
12
hold
years
on.
now.
Shouldn't I read the introduction? Huh?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
we're
we should.
kind of skipping around. I'm sorry. Go for it.
Yeah.
Tell everybody who Allie is.
Okay. We are here with Allie Kuhn. She is an accomplished event rider and young horse producer based in Wisconsin, specializing in retraining off the track thoroughbreds and turning them into successful event horses. After earning a bachelor's degree in equine business and interning in Kentucky for 3 years, she has produced many talented horses that compete and place at events across the United States. In 2025, Allie and her partner Little Hale captured hearts at the Defender Kentucky 3-day event with their eye catching pink attire to successfully complete their first CCI 4-star at Kentucky, marking a major milestone in her competitive career.
Ooh,
Known for her keen eye for potential and her ability to find horses who thrive in cross country, Allie has significantly influenced the quality of new horses entering her family's operation. She is also a skilled instructor, recognized for developing riders with solid foundations. La, la, la. I hate reading in front of people. Evidence through their accurate cross-country rounds and elegant dressage tests. Welcome, Allie.
hey, thanks for having me,
Welcome.
guys. I'm excited to be here with my fellow Wisconsinites. This is so exciting.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited to ask all the questions. We should
Ask
let
'em.
everybody know that when you're talking, you'll probably see Megan and I will mute ourselves so that we don't
Oh, you're fine.
cross all over. But I'm excited to learn all the things. Now, your family has been in, we'll just say in the eventing world for far back as I can remember. So we talk a little
Yeah,
bit about that and the development of the farm.
of course. So, I grew up on the farm, right? It was a 40-acre horse farm. Growing up, we did a lot of like 4-H and dressage. We just kind of got bored with it, right? Like going around in circles was super great as a kid, and then as we got older, it kind of lost its appeal. So then we ventured into eventing. My mom had grown up just doing it a little bit here and there, but obviously, eventing's not cheap. So I did my first horse trial, I think, when I was 12, and I did beginner novice at Silverwood Horse Trials. I was so excited and I was so nervous, and my sister did her first one, that one too. And we just loved it. It's so addictive. The adrenaline rush and the all the skills that are required. It's so much more than just only getting to do the dressage or only doing the show jumping. You also have to have the cross country aspect, and you have to have a great horse teammate that you can do it with. And so we started doing eventing, and we only got to do about maybe 1 or 2 a year, right? Because we were 2 daughters and our mom, and it's expensive, right? And we're traveling. This is the Midwest. We're traveling hours to a horse show. These aren't just like down the road. So we got to do like 1, maybe 2 a year.
So back then, how many horse trials were being held in? We'll just say
Ooh,
like Wisconsin slash
yeah,
northern Illinois. Like,
yeah.
was Indian Hill still running one?
No, I never got to go there. I heard
Okay, what
about it.
about yeah, and like what about Evergreen? Was that one still
Nope.
going?
Evergreen, another one was I heard about it but never got to go. We had Otter Creek, which is still going, Silverwood, which is still going, and then we had Maui Jim, which was at Lamplight, which is no longer, and Wayne DuPage, which was also at Lamplight, which we loved those, and we lost them, and Area 4
So
misses
sad.
them terribly. But the Midwest, Area 4, which is what we are, is a huge area. It's like 10 states. So we're talking, there's shows all the way down to Kansas City, which I love those shows, but it's a 9-hour drive. Like, it's a haul. So, but we try to go whenever we can and support those shows because that's what the Midwest does. We all support each other. And then when I also get the opportunity to go show on the East Coast and go catch some bigger shows, I do that, and that's about a 10 or 12-hour drive for me. So, we try to support those shows as much as you can, and they're usually far enough apart, but also the Midwest season is short, right? Like our winter, it's September, winter could be in a couple weeks, it could snow. So you don't really know how long your season's going to be, and that's really hard to produce a horse in a short season like that. As we all know, your window is it's small for moving those horses up the level and getting them to those qualifiers. It's tough. And there's not as many schooling shows as they have on the East Coast or in Florida because once again, the people that are hosting those shows are also trying to go to those shows. So, I could be going to a show at Plantation this weekend, but I'm prepping for my own horse trial next week. So it's tough.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about how your family decided to, we'll say, dip your toe into the let's host a horse trial
Yeah.
pond?
Oh boy. We went to a horse trial years ago. I was, oh my God, my mom, her best friend, myself, and I don't think my sister was along, but it was it was a rough show. It was rough, but it was recognized. And we were like, well, shoot, like if they can run this, like surely we can run a show. And by then we had bought the neighbor's campground. And it was flat with some hills and it was perfect. And we were like, we could turn this into something. We could make our own cross country course. And maybe someday, once we've had enough schooling shows at it, maybe we can run a horse trial. And our entire barn group, our boarders, are the most supportive human beings on earth. They were like, let's have cleanup days. Let's go clean up that barbed wire fence line. Let's go clean up all those glass bottles of beer that they threw in that ditch. Let's go clean up everything. Let's tear down shrubbery and all that stuff. And we worked on it for years. And the grass was, oh my God, hip high when we bought it. And so you're mowing with the mower deck all the way up because you've no idea what's underneath. And you're mowing just confidently, hoping you don't hit a fire pit ring. And so we get all this done. And then we decided we needed to bring in a professional who could tell us where do we even put a water hazard? Where's a good place to put banks? Where should we put ditches? Because there has to be a bit of flow to the land with those things. You can't just like pop a water hazard on top of a hill, because that's not where water sits. It doesn't make sense, but also maintaining it's kind of tough. So we brought in Eric Bull, and he showed us where we should put water. And we have this amazing bank complex that's going down a hill, and it looks like you're jumping off into outer space, but it makes sense. It's banks down a hill, right? So like it makes sense, and where to put ditches. And so we invested a ton of money into that we didn't have. It's great. And we built this course, and just slowly but surely every year, the money that you make on the horse trail, you just reinvest in making more jumps because they don't last forever. They're made of wood. They're out in the elements in the winter and the rain and the cold. And every year it's just gotten a little bigger. I think our first year, we had 50 entries.
So what
Yeah.
size, what level courses did you start off building when you started? Because you've mentioned you've got quite a variety of courses now available.
Yeah.
So what did you start with?
We started with beginner, novice, and training. Just the 3 core levels, because eventing is supported by those levels. That is 90% of our sport is training level and below. And now we have starter novice, which is so great. But 90% of our sport is training level and below. And so much of our, the attention is given to those going advanced. And it was so frustrating for me as a trainer moving up the levels. I was like, eventing forgets that so much of our monetary support, our volunteers, our sponsors, those are people who are running the lower levels. And it's a really crying shame that those people aren't mentioned in our sport as much because they're doing the legwork. They're holding the rest of the eventing sport up. Like not that many people are going to be doing preliminary and above. It's expensive. The shows are so far away. And God, to maintain a horse at this level is insane. So we just started with those 3 levels. And then I think we added preliminary. And then I think we added starter novice, but it was unrecognized at the time. So it was kind of an added level that we did extra work, and you didn't have to have a membership for it, which was awesome, which is a great way to bring people into eventing. Like you don't get the USEA fee on top of it. You can just go to a show, which was so good. And then they added modified a couple of years ago, which is that level between training level and preliminary, which is so good because a lot of your adult amateurs want, or kids want to do a little bit more than training level, but maybe preliminary is a bit more than they want. It gets really technical. The speed gets up there. So they added modified a couple of years ago. And it's been so great because it was a 4-inch height difference between training level and preliminary. And while that doesn't sound like a lot, it's quite a bit. If you think about it in like meters of when the jumpers are doing, the meter 30s versus the meter 25s, well, it's a bit. So we added that, and now we run all 6 of those levels, and it's really supported, and we love it.
Megan,
Maybe.
you want to go?
I want to know what it takes to keep your horse together. You said all the maintenance. Maybe touch a little bit on that.
Yeah. So Little Hale is 16. Everyone thinks that he's this like young, sprightly young man, and he is in attitude for sure. Twice a year he gets hocks and stifles done. Every 4 weeks he gets $400 shoes put on because you better believe that he's thoroughbred and he has thoroughbred feet. So he's got wedge pads in front, and he's got wedge pads behind, and he cannot go longer than 4 weeks. And so you're looking at $400 once a month. You're looking at, depending if I'm in Florida or Wisconsin, hocks and stifles are very much priced differently when I get those done. It was about double in Florida when I had those done. So maybe I'm flying my vet down this year to have them done, which will probably cost me the same in the end. But still, it's something about having your own vet do your stuff, right? Anytime I enter an FEI, you're looking at about a $1,300 entry, depending. And then you have to be able to keep up your USEF membership, your USEA membership, any additional memberships you might have. Every dressage lesson I take, every jumper lesson I take. Anytime I go to a show with a horse, even if it's not Hale, a young horse, if one of my coaches is there, one of them, I'm riding with her. I don't care how much it costs. It's a lesson, right? It's an opportunity. So you're just looking at every month you're investing that money. And what blankets does he need? Because God forbid he grow a coat before my next show and I have to body clip him. So I'm blanketing that boy within an inch of his life, right? All the supplements he's on, which I'm so grateful to have sponsors for, but still, like still costs me something, even if it's just time to make them a video. So it's really expensive going this level, and it's given me a fine appreciation for the people who have a lot of horses at this level. One at this level is more than enough for me.
So you're talking about Florida. You're a snowbird. When do you say, you know what, time to pack up and fly out of here, get out of here, and head for the warmer climates before? Do you do it before the snow flies? Do you wait kind of into like truly into winter? Do you leave in the, we'll say, late fall or fall? And are you chasing any shows when you do decide to head out?
Yeah. So I always kind of look at the calendar, like what shows do I want to hit? And, when are those weekends? Because you've got in Florida, you've got like Rocking Horse. They run a ton of shows, right? But I try not to hit the same show a lot because that kind of takes the joy out of it and the challenge, right? Or there's Ocala, but is it an international or is it a horse trial? And also, am I trying to run intermediate? Am I trying to run advanced? So this year, the new challenge for me is I want to go advanced, right? I'm trying to hit more advanced. Obviously, I'm not going to come out of the gate at advanced. I'm going to let him run around an intermediate and let me run around an intermediate, right? Like I've had some time off too. So like, let's run around something that's just a step down. Let's take a breath. So I look at the calendar and I determine what shows I want to hit. Also, what shows can my coaches come to? And now that I'm going advanced, there's not as many shows in Florida as there used to be. Red Hills was a phenomenal show in Florida and they no longer run. Well, that would have been an advanced I could go to. So now I'm driving. So while I'm in Florida training in the heat, I'm still driving up to the East Coast to go to shows, which is a bummer because it was so convenient going intermediate in Florida. I also have the luxury of my sister lives down there, so I sleep on her couch. So everyone thinks I have like all this money and I get to like go to my own private barn. No. My neighbor actually at home here owns the barn in Florida that my sister runs, and I sleep on my sister's couch. So I don't have to pay to stay in Florida myself, but my horse I still have to pay for. So I guess if my sister didn't live there, it would probably be a different story because it's an opportunity to see her. But also, it's really freaking expensive to go to Florida. And it's not just like I get to just pick up and go. Like I have to financially plan for it because I'm not teaching a million lessons while I'm down there. Like my clients don't all go. We're from the Midwest. These aren't just housewives that can just go to Florida, right? Like they're working women who like come ride at night. So trying to plan how long I can financially afford to be gone is a little bit tricky. Last year when I decided I was going to hit Kentucky, I like, all right, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to stay the extra 3 weeks to prep for Kentucky. Financially, it's going to be a real bummer. Like I'm going to be living on my credit card, and I do work at a tax shop while I'm down there, which is amazing because I have so many connections now. But still, like coming home from Florida, I was in debt going into Kentucky. It's the cost of the dream, and that's a bummer. And this year I probably won't go quite as long. I have a little bit more experience under my belt, but also it's hard to be away from home that long. Honestly, I'm such a Midwestern homebody. I'm like, I don't want to leave my husband. I like him. I like my dogs. I really like my clients. Like, and in a way, I kind of like winter. Like, it forces us to rest. So I probably won't go till mid-January this year, and I'll probably stay till like mid-March. I love my dressage coach here in the Midwest. She's in Illinois, so it's an hour and 45 minutes. But I really love her, and I love to get to ride with her in person versus on like a Pivio camera. So I can get the cross country and the shows in Florida, but the coaches I really like with are here. So it's a
What's
bit
the
of a
closest from where we're located besides your facility? What's the closest? We'll just say intermediate on up. Is it
closest
Kentucky?
intermediate for me is 4.5 hours. It's in Wheeler, Wisconsin. It's Otter Creek.
Okay, it is Otter
Um,
Creek. Okay.
that's the only intermediate. Other than that, next month I'm gonna go run the foreshort at Morven, and that'll be about a 12.5 hour drive.
Do you hit any of the? I'm not sure what's out there in the Carolinas. Isn't there? There's probably the
Yeah,
horse community. So is there any good larger events?
yes, there is a ton of big ones out there. This time of year, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to go to. But for me, knowing we have our horse show at home, I was like, okay, what can I make sure that we're going to be fit for to run? So, like I said, there's like big shows happening this weekend, but I'm a little preoccupied. So, and you're not running these event horses, the upper level horses. You're not running these horses that often. I haven't shown Hale since Montana in mid-July. He doesn't need to run, and this sport is really hard on these guys, and they need to have ample rest time, and they need to enjoy it too. So I run him when I feel like we're both ready and we want to go play, versus being owned by an owner who's like, I need you to run my horse. The people that own Hale are wonderful human beings and they're also eventers, so they get it and there's no pressure for me, which is incredible. So I just kind of get to pick and choose, and I bounce ideas off of coaches like, hey, what do you think is a good idea here? I could show well into November if I wanted to. I just don't want to. I don't.
Can we pivot a little bit and talk about how you keep yourself fit, but also how you start bringing your horse into the fitness level required to run an intermediate
Yeah.
and eventually an advanced? Because we should maybe I should back up and we should talk about how eventing has changed. There used to be roads and tracks and like substantially more endurance. And it was, I mean, it's a difficult sport anyway, but I thought it was crazy nuts. That's been decades ago, but there was a lot going on. And so maybe we could talk about that, and then you can segue into like talking about how you keep yourself fit, and then
Yeah.
how you start bringing, well, both of yourselves into fitness for your show season.
Yeah. Eventing is a beast, and it has changed a lot since it used to be long format. It is a lot more technical now. The courses are still long, but instead of it being long, gallopy courses with big tables, now it's quick gallop, a sequence of technical fences, gallop, big jump, gallop, another jump, whatever. So what our fitness is now is a much more different situation than what they used to do. So like if I take Hale out and I do a fitness ride, I usually do a 20-minute trot set, and then we'll do a 2-minute walk, and then we'll maybe do like a 6-minute canter, 2-minute walk, 6-minute bigger canter, 2-minute walk, and then we might end with like a 7-minute canter where the last minute is like a burst gallop. And I usually reserve that to a hill where he has to pull the whole time. Because he needs to tire himself out and he does not get tired because he's thoroughbred. So we have to wait for the gallop till the end, otherwise I won't have any arms left. But you do that so you can let the heart rate slow and then spike it, and then you can stress again. And then after that, he's icing. Like we are icing for 20 minutes. We're either if he's inside, we're wrapping those legs, but he's outside right now, so he gets limited, he gets iced, and then he goes right back outside. And then I'm checking those legs later that night. I'm checking them the next morning, making sure that we're good to go. Um, and then, like I said, we don't run more than once a month or once every 3 weeks. In Florida, it's a bit different because you're doing like more one-day shows then. So it's a little bit different temperament. Mm, not my favorite, but when we were pushing for Kentucky, we showed more often than I normally would like to. But I knew we were pushing for something, and then we were going to rest for a long time. Then we were going to show, and then we were going to rest for a long time. So we had a goal in mind. For myself, for fitness, before Kentucky,
Oh, question.
yeah,
Interrupt you. So do you put a heart rate monitor on him and check?
he ran Kentucky in a heart rate monitor and a whole bunch of other stuff. God, I can't remember the company that came through and they asked. They like
Cool.
came to each stall and they asked if you'd be interested. And a lot of people were like, no, I don't want extra stuff on my horse. And I was like, he's a thoroughbred and he's so fit right now. Throw that heart rate monitor on. And I actually still haven't logged in because I made an account, but one of my grooms made the account and I don't know the password. But like he ran Kentucky and he had a crazy low temp after and his heart rate was so low. And he did while we were in Florida to save his feet and his legs. We actually did treadmill, underwater treadmill, not like fully submerged, but like up to his belly. His owner John worked at the equine hospital, so we had access to that. So one week he would do like the up to his belly in warm water, and then the next week it was just up to like stifle height in cold water, and he would walk and walk, and it was resistance training. So he's getting iced at the same time he's working out, but also he's not pounding, which was amazing. And then I came home and I had about 2.5 weeks before Kentucky and we walked. I've got great steep hills here. We walked hills for 20 minutes and he did not struggle at Kentucky at all. He was very fit. But yeah, it's a different fitness level. And then for myself personally, before Kentucky, I cut out a lot of caffeine. I cut out a lot of alcohol and I'm like, I love wine. So, that's tough. I drink a ton of water. And then I was just really like mindful about about making sure that I didn't eat the things that I know drag me down energy wise, right? Like, so, cut out cupcakes, stuff like that. I know it was a crying shame. And then I had to add in a lot of like a mental fitness. I started reading a lot of um like mental health books, making sure that I was on top of my own mental game because our sport is, yes, it's the three phases, but you also have to be mentally in the right place for that. And that was probably the biggest thing I had to add because when you go into a really big show like that and you're the underdog, you have to be on top of your own mental game because you're going to have so many doubters come in and try to chip away at you, and you cannot let that get in your way. And it's going to be people that you've never respected. It's going to be people that you respect the most. It's going to be family members. And whether it comes from a place of doubt or concern for your safety, you have to own your own journey and be like, I appreciate your concern, but I'm right here and I'm good. And that was something that I had been kind of warned about. And I was really glad that I dove in and took a hold of that so that when all that crap came about, I was good to go.
So you did have, I don't need names or anything like that, but you actually had people approach you and really?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
One thing my aunt Cami actually said to me was when people doubt you like that, it doesn't come necessarily from a place of concern for you. It comes from an insecurity from them. And so some of the people that reached out that were doubtful were bitter because they hadn't got there themselves. Some people were just family that was concerned, like, hey, are you biting off more than you can chew? Which, like, I can appreciate their concern for my safety. That's fine. And then I don't know, you've kind of always got those in between people who are like, well, you haven't paid your dues, so you shouldn't get to go yet. And it was kind of a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but it was really insulting that people decided that since they had done the journey differently, that since I hadn't followed that narrative, I shouldn't get to go. And I was like, I feel bad for you that you feel that way. I'm going to go anyway.
Yeah, I think we see that in a number of the equestrian sports where, it's, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm way off base here, but I feel like there's like an older crowd who's like, I had to do it differently and it was really hard. And they just look at you and go, you're getting it on a silver platter, even though you're not. In their opinion, in their brain, you didn't do it. It wasn't, their thinking wasn't as hard. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not, I'm not surprised. And it's great that you, like you said, you got a little warning and you got ahead of that
Yeah.
problem.
I had a lot of like Dorothy Kroll, who was my mentor for years, and then a couple other people were like, "Hey, something you're going to want to add to your daily is this. You need to read a book that helps you stay above that." And I was also really grateful because I was protected by Dorothy and John from a lot of that.
What?
They
What's
didn't
the
tell
book?
me.
I'm writing it down.
It is the Let Them Theory.
Oh, I have the book. I
It's a
love that
great
book.
book, and I would
Yeah.
read a chapter or like a page or two a day. Think of it like a helpful concept a day. It wasn't like I was necessarily like held by how many pages I wanted to read a day or a chapter. I read a digestible item a day where I was like, "Oh, that's really good. I want to sleep on that and think about it." And then I also had her other book. I can't think of it, but just kind of pairing those together and remembering that when people come into your life who doubt you or make you start to doubt yourself, you just have to let it roll off and be like, you know what? I'm sad for you that you feel that way. You're entitled to that feeling, but I'm going to be over here and I'm going to stay on my own journey because that's the journey that serves me best. And I know that I deserve to go to Kentucky, and I know that I'm ready, and I'm sad for you that you can't be in my corner and you can't be on my team, but I respect your journey that you're on. And that was really helpful to me. It didn't make me bitter to those people who came to me. It made me sad that they couldn't be on my team, but also like, you know what, you're in your own place in life and you've got your own cross to bear too.
Do you find that it's almost more difficult now with the social media? I mean, there's so many social media platforms. And I'm going to use the B word. The bullying can happen like hundredfold because they can corner you anywhere. It seems like
Yeah, I mean,
versus only putting you at a show and trying to intimidate you at a show or a clinic or Now
I
it's
mean,
everywhere.
for me, the couple people that didn't believe in my journey came up to me at a show and told me so. It wasn't online. It was people in the trailer next to me or whatever being like, "No, absolutely not." And it shocks you at first, right? Because you're like, "Are they serious?" And then it kind of like threw me back, and I was able to discuss it with someone, and they were like, "Okay, well, here's where that probably comes from, and you need to not let that get in your head." And of course, you're gonna have internet people. Like, of course, after Kentucky, there's still people that give me bad Yelp reviews online about being an instructor, and it can hurt my feelings. But I also can go, "Hey, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm somebody's shot of whiskey, okay? And they don't want that." And you're always gonna have your feelings hurt by someone. There's always somebody out there that's not pro you, and that's okay. That's fine. Okay. You know what? I've gotten a pretty thick skin. Um, yeah, it sucks. Yeah. And of course, after Kentucky, did the friend request amounts overwhelm me? Yes. And did I have to make a separate page for Hale so that people could go there? For sure. Because guess what? Yes, I'm Allie Coon and Little Hale, but also like I get to just be Allie Coon too, who goes out and drinks wine with her friends on the weekends and, like is just also a normal girl. And defining that, a lot of people are like, why would you do that? You're going to ruin your chances at having connections and networks. I'm like, yes, but my sanity needs this separation. And that's been crucial for me because it has been a bit of an overwhelming summer. So separating those things out and having the Team Hail Yeah page versus my personal life and information is so good because people, I think, see you go and they see that you're a really fun person and they assume that they know you. And that's really wonderful and flattering, but also you don't know me.
Yeah.
So it's been a interesting navigation.
I guess we have a question. Any events on Georgia?
As in Georgia?
I think she means in Georgia. Because
None
Denise,
this
Denise
fall.
is from Georgia.
I did Bocart in God, was it March? It must have been March. And I loved Bocart. I did not have my best weekend. That was my final qualifier for Kentucky. And because it mattered, I had the worst horse show of my life. Like I scraped by in dressage, which is not my normal. We had tough show jump round, and then we had a run out on cross country. We got held on course early in the course, and I like was ready to fist fight the jump judge because she was like, "You can't have a prep fence. You have to go right into this." It was like a really tricky combination into water. And we got through it, but like it scared us both a little bit. And so we had to run out later because he just kind of ran off with me and was like, I'm terrified. And I was like, me too. So we had to run out later that it was kind of one of those things where it was either going to be a really horrifying jump or I needed to make a tough decision. And I made the tough decision to pull him off of it and go, we're going to get hurt. Um, I wish that Bocart was going to continue running, but they sold the property and this is their last year running shows and it sucks. Ugh, another horse trial lost for eventing. So nothing left in Georgia.
That's
I
tough.
know.
Tough to
It's
hear.
so
And
tough.
across a
But
lot of different equestrian sports, we're losing facilities.
it's expensive to run these shows, like I can tell you from ours, it looks like you're making money, but if you're doing it right and you reinvest in the business, you're not making any money because you care about the sport and you want to have new jumps or new wash racks or new rings or whatever, and you just dump it right back in. So not
Or
really making any money.
gluttons for punishment? But I want to hear about Kentucky.
What do you want to know?
I want to know all the things. Like, have you competed there before? Was it amazing? Was it everything you thought? What
Oh
was
my gosh.
great? What was not good? Like, I want to hear about Kentucky.
Yeah,
What's it like to compete there?
it is incredible. It's everything you think it is, truly, and more. So the first time we mentioned the potential thought of going was at my first advance. I hadn't even gone cross country yet. I had dressage and I had show jumped, and I had show jumped beautifully, which show jumping is my bugaboo. Um, and I kind of was like, maybe someday I'll go to Kentucky. And my coach Kathy was like, how about this year? And I was like, I'm sorry, are you drunk? Like, what are you thinking? No, I haven't even finished this one yet. Like, what do you, no. Um, and then we ran around our first advance and he just loved it. I'm like, Hale's a peanut. Hale's like 15 hands. He's not big. His personality's huge. And his ego it barely fits in my trailer. But so we kind of like it was like this lofty dream, right? Like, maybe someday. But maybe I was the only one that was laughing and everybody else was serious. And then we did Terranova, and that was really big and scary. And when I say big and scary, it was really big and scary. Like, we had a stupid run out because I ran my line wrong. And Hale was like, I'm not jumping that massive table on a long spot on an angle. And I was like, that's fair. Like, I get that. And then we had a frangible later just from, I would say, a scared rider riding her horse into the wide side of a corner. So he didn't run out. Because he can't run out if he jumps the wide side, you know? So, but considering that course ate so many people, we shined bright and we finished fourth. And I was thrilled. And Dorothy was like, listen, so that's a ridiculous course. I didn't want to tell you that before you ran it. And I was like, thank you. And she was like, if you can get around that, you can go around Kentucky. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, I guess we're doing this, right? Because that's really the only response you can have when you were a girl who was just going to maybe run advanced ever once and call it a day and then not do that again because it's scary. So we decided we were going to go. And then once I got home from Kentucky, all I could think was, okay, I'm home for 2.5 weeks for Kentucky. Surely one of us is going to get hurt. We're going to get in a car accident on the way to a lesson. He's going to do a tendon. I'm going to chicken out. I'm going to get sick. Like, there's no way I get to go. No way. Like, it's just not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. And so we leave early in the morning on the Tuesday, and we get there. And I remember pulling in and going, oh my God, we're doing this. And it says like, welcome Defender 2025 competitors or whatever it says. And I was like, oh my God, we are here. I used to live in Kentucky, right? So I'd been to the horse park 1,000 times, showed there 1,000 times, taken my husband to Rolex. Like, we'd done this, but now I was like on the other side. And I was like, oh my God, we're doing this. Like, you're checking into the show office and you get like a lanyard that says like Defender competitor. And you're like, I feel ill. I feel ill right now. Um, and I'm hacking him out on these grounds that I've ridden 1,000 times. I've been to the horse park how many times? And now I'm at the horse park in a way different capacity. And suddenly it feels like it's all new and terrifying. And you're trying to hack and see what jumps you might be jumping out there. Because like maybe that'll help me sleep better tonight if I can see what I'm jumping in. You can't see anything. And just all of it was so iconic. You are getting ready for dressage and you're cantering amongst all these other people who have done this 1,000 times. And you start to realize that like they're just a person who loves horses too. And they're just people. And that made me feel a lot better. And I remember talking to Jan Binney just in the warm-up ring, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty freaked out. I'm just a girl from the Midwest running the 4-star. And she's like, you know what? I was just a girl from Colorado. That's all I ever was too. And I was like, oh my God, you're a normal person too. And that made it so much more digestible. And did I cry after every phase? Yes, absolutely. Because you're like walking down with your coaches and your whole crew, because you have a whole team of people that come with you for this. You got your owners, you got your coaches, you got your mom. Okay, you take your mom to this. Who was my instructor for years, right? You take your groom, you take your sister, who's your number one groom, who won't even let you touch your horse before any phase because she needs to fix something. And you're like walking down to that iconic show jump or dressage ring, and you're like, oh my, I'm doing this. I am freaking doing this in pink. I'm doing this in pink. And so, you're cantering around that ring and you're like, are the rules different? Like when they ring the bell, it's the 45 seconds, right? Like it hasn't changed, right? Since I last went in the ring, and you're doing it. And like, please don't let me forget my dressage test. Oh my God, this would not be the place. And I'm coming down the last move. I think we had to like turn half circle down center line to halt. And I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. You salute and you say thank you to that judge, and you're just like, and I'm crying. I'm freaking bawling. Right? And you look up and there's not that many people in the stands for dressage for the 4-star day on the Thursday, but the people that were out there were freaking team players, and they were cheering like I had just gone on The Voice and gotten the golden buzzer. They were cheering like I was like, yeah, it was pretty awesome. And then I'd walked cross country 1,000 times. I walked it 4 times. I walked it once with my sister because Whitney had also done 4-stars, so she's been there, done that enough times that she wasn't going to be walking the course with me being like, oh my God, this is huge. You're going to die here. Right. Because she's jumped it. So I love my mom. I love all the other people on my team, but I needed to walk with somebody who wasn't going to be super excited about it. And Whitney is very level headed. And so she was like, yeah, like, I think this is how you should jump this because she's done the level. And I was like, you're right. That's absolutely what I was thinking. Right. But then she would also like throw in like the chide joke of being like, it would suck if you fell off in that water hazard if you didn't set up. And it like made it really lighthearted. And so you're like walking out there with this like competitor orange armband, right? Because there's people who yell at you if you're not supposed to be out there. And she's like, it would suck if you fell off out here. Yeah, I guess it would. Like you're right. It would absolutely suck if I fell off back there. But it made it so like lighthearted and just made me remember that it was just another horse show. It's just another horse show, truly. And so walked it with her and it was wonderful and I got to see everything for the first time. Then I walked it with Dorothy and then I walked it with Kathy. And Dorothy makes me remember to put my big girl pants on and like kick on and get between the red and the white. And Kathy makes me remember to, you know, own each stride, make good decisions, blah, blah, blah. Don't just live in the moment. And then I walked it a final time by myself with headphones on, just so I made sure I stayed in my own zone. I didn't get distracted by the really excited kids out there who I used to be at 8 a.m. who are just really pumped to see a rider. So it reminded me to stay right in my zone and also like take a breath. You're here. You deserve to be here. So by the time I got suited up for cross country, I was like, I can do this. I felt good about the course. I truly did. I was like, yeah, like we've schooled these grounds 1,000 times. We've been to the show 1,000 times in a different capacity, but like we've jumped that drop bank. We've we've jumped that. We've seen that water. So it kind of made you feel a little bit more like, okay, well the jumps are bigger and there's lanes to gallop in and there's going to be a lot of people here. This is home turf. And so that felt really good going out. I felt really confident and my sister led me to the box and I said, I can do this. And she said, yeah, you can. And off we went and he was awesome. We were awesome. I rode the best I've ever ridden. He jumped the best he's ever jumped. He actually listened and half halted, which he never does. So it was very exciting for me. Um, and God, you just came off and all I could do was cry. I mean, you see that video of me like hugging him as it came by because I pictured myself coming through the finish line, but then to actually do it was something so different. You're coming to that last fence and you're like, I will ride it perfectly. I will ride it perfectly. I will not mess this last fence up. And to just land through it and be going through those finish lines and be like, I just ran around Kentucky. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't the 5-star, but it was the 4. And then everybody else was like, yeah, it was a 5 short. It wasn't a 5 long, it was a 5 short. So that was so iconic. And I will never forget that. And I have a picture of me jumping the last fence on my living room in a giant freaking canvas board because I'm like, I want to never forget that feeling if I have Alzheimer's or I'm senile someday. I want to remember that I did that. And then show jumping is my bugaboo. I just hate show jumping. I had a horse who didn't care no matter how great your canter was or your preparation was. He just didn't care. He punched rails and it made me lose a lot of confidence. And that's not necessarily what happened that day. I think the first fence, I heard the bell go off. I was like, oh my God, 45 seconds is up. I have to get to the first fence. And I panicked and I went at it and we didn't have the right canter and we pulled that rail. And I was like, okay, you know how to ride. Jump better than that. And then we were good and we came to that triple line and they love to put it right next to the crowd. Okay, well, Hale and I have never jumped in front of 11,000 people before. So maybe jumping next to a giant grandstand was a little spooky and we drifted left the entire time and we were both pooping our pants a little bit. But then we landed from that and we remembered that we knew what we were doing and then we were great. And just the last fence to like land that and hear the crowd go crazy, knowing that you didn't get the compulsory retirement for having more than 4 rails, but to know that you did it and you finished it and you have a sound horse who's happy and healthy and he did the jog and he felt great and know that you had this major milestone that you didn't even know that you had as a goal because you never thought that you were going to be good enough. I think that is really what brought tears to my eyes on that final day. It was like, I never even had this as a goal or a dream because I never thought that I was going to be that girl who was ever going to be in the position to do it. So you just don't put the dream on your dream board someday because it's not even going to be attainable. And you don't even dream that big because you can't. You don't deserve to. You don't have the money. You don't have the right resources. You don't have the right people, blah, 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 blah. All those voices that get in your head. And so to do it and do it my way and do it in bright pink and have people applaud you for it and for it to go so brilliantly that other people's grooms come up to you and be like, you were my favorite person to watch in the vet box today and stuff like that. And to have riders that you've always respected reach out to you on Facebook and Instagram and be like, I watched you and you were my favorite ride of the day. Like that is just mad respect, right? Like to feel that is incredible. And like, of course, I like screenshotted those because I was like, I want to remember those for a rainy day because you're not always going to feel that high, right? Like there was a moment during show jumping where I was like, maybe I don't deserve to be here. And I was like, no, shut that girl up. You do deserve to be here. And you freaking made cross country look like a cakewalk. So make show jumping look like a cakewalk too, because you deserve to be here and you work really freaking hard. So you have to battle those demons the whole time, but to have those people reach out after and be like, wow, you came out of nowhere, nobody knew who you were, and you made that look like you were born to be there is so amazing. I remember sitting in my tax stall just crying, reading all these messages because of course your phone is blowing up after, and just being in awe of all of these people who reached out to you or like, I've always admired your journey, or I've always watched you go at local shows and I always thought you were great. So to get to see you do great things was so incredible. And wow, way to bring Area 4 on the map. And wow, way to bring Sundance Farm on the map. Like that was such a compliment that will carry me for so long. And I want to do it again, but to do it so beautifully the first time, knowing that cross country is the iconic phase and nail it in bright pink is so great. And that is such a magical feeling. And I hope that I can do that again.
How'd you pick pink?
Oh boy, the pink.
Yeah,
So
what's up with the pink?
I used to run in purple and green. It was like a Mardi Gras color. And then for my 30th birthday, my bunch of teenager students, they were like, Miss Allie, we think you should run in pink. And I was like, ha ha ha. Good joke. Absolutely not. And then they gifted it to me. And it was the pink shirt, the pink saddle pad, the pink helmet cover, and the pink bonnet. And I was like, oh boy, wow, that is a
It's
decision.
it's not your favorite color?
I think it is now because it has to be, but I wore it for our first prelim together and I was like, oh God. And all the other trainers were like, you are brave wearing that. I would not do that for anyone. And I was like, well, that's the difference between you and me. I am very confident in my own personality and I can rock this pink. But then like the pictures of us started rolling in and I was like, oh my God, we kind of look great because he's a little guy. He's a little peanut. And I'm always like having a good time out there smiling. It's like to wear pink into it was like, well, I don't know how long we'll do this, but we'll do it for a little bit. And then we move up to intermediate in bright pink. And I remember going to my first intermediate and all the other people were like very judgy of me and warm up being like, ew, who's this girl in pink? Like she's ridiculous. And then like smoked them and won my first intermediate. And I was like, and I did it pink. Like I'm gonna keep doing it in pink. And I did my first 3-star in pink. And I won that one. And I was like, yeah, and I did it in pink too. And to run Kentucky in pink was like a bit of a like, oh, we're really doing this in pink. Like we're and one of my boarders or one of my clients, her mom works for a like a shirt, I don't even know what it's called, embroidery company. And she was like, so I think that we need to really run with this. And I was like, oh no, that's so much pink. Like, oh no, it's not just me anymore. And at one point when I was galloping cross country, I looked up and saw just like a sea of pink. And whether those people were trying to support me or not, or they just wore pink that day, but I knew that my entire vet team was down there in pink. My entire barn group was down there in pink. Like, and then you see like when we come off cross country, like the pink converge on me, like just iconic, right? So it's kind of a gag gift and it kind of just stuck. I can't hear you.
Yeah,
You're on mute. There you
I
are.
was on mute and I lost my mouse. My mouse went wandering, and I'm like, "Where are you on all the screens?" So I could unmute. Yeah, I love pink. I'm
It's stuck.
noticing your chair. Your chair is pink.
Yeah, like I said, the pink kind of stuck. And
Yeah,
now people keep gifting me pink.
yeah, I love it. I think it's great. So, can we talk about just for those who are aspiring, who are like, "Wow, I don't know what it," in their dream might be to move up to training or something. But so you run cross country, and the next day you've got to run the show jumping course. What is your once the horse is kind of cooled down? What is your how you care for him for the trot up the next day to see whether you can do the show jumping, like the icing? Like, can we quick kind of go
Oh,
through some of that? Because dressage not as stressful as galloping an advanced level event course.
no. And like, so when he suits up for cross country, we put baby powder in those boots because Hale's a thoroughbred. So those legs rub. Even though he has Lemieux cross country boots that I love, we baby powder the crap out of those boots because if he gets one little rub, he will bleed and he will have a fat leg and he will be lame. So step one, prepping for cross country before he even gets studs in, he gets a crap ton of baby powder, Gold Bond brand in his boots and on his legs, right? Because he cannot rub. And you're running a long course. And then He gets his studs in and everything. You always put your studs in after you put your boots on because horses are silly and they will cut themselves, right? And you're running around Kentucky on a rainy day, you're wearing big old studs, right? So safety first, put those boots on, put those bell boots on, and he wears double bell boots because he's a shoe puller, because he's a thoroughbred and he can't help himself. Um, and then before I went out of the box, my sister took her the venting grease. It looks like bacon grease. You smear that all over him, right? So that if he hits anything, he slithers right across it, right? And he did smack the cabin after the coffin complex. So I was glad to have the grease on because it helped him slide across it. He was great for the ride, but he was ouchy that night. And we iced the heck out of that stifle and we pulsed it, and my massage lady was on it. So you come off cross country. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna rip that tack off. I'm actually first up, I'm gonna unplug my air vest because let's not forget that essential step. So you're gonna unplug that vest, you're gonna take that tack off, and you're gonna leave those boots on, and you're gonna start throwing water on him because once they've stopped running and the adrenaline hits, but they're no longer moving, that heart rate is gonna spike. So you need to start getting cold water on them. Cool water doesn't have to be ice cold, but you need to get cool water on and you need to move them. They need to walk. So if you ever see the vet box after, you see a lot of the grooms walking the horses as other people are throwing water on. And that's exactly what happened. I got pulled away for an interview, but truthfully, after I've ridden, Hale wants kind of nothing to do with me. He wants my sister, Whitney, and John and his group. He wants nothing to do with me. And so I step away. I'm actually more of a hindrance than a help at that point. We've just learned our routine. He will pin his ears at me. He will try to bite me. I step away. Okay, I get it. I'm your business partner, not your best friend. Fine. Um, so you're going to start throwing that water on and you're going to scrape it. If you actually run your hand, you put water on with one hand and you run your hand to the other, you're going to feel how fast the water heats. How fast do I need to scrape the water off? Or do I let it sit for a second before I scrape it off? The longer you can let it sit means your horse is starting to cool fast. So, and you're going to have vets in there that are checking that heart rate and checking their temperature and seeing where they're at, right? Because you can be dangerously hot if your horse isn't fit enough. Hale was beautifully fit. He cooled down so great. They threw a ton of water on him. You have all your buckets down there. You're ready. You've got a liniment bucket for the end. You're throwing that on. So you have a whole process that you have. And then he went back to the barn, and then he's going to and his studs were pulled out by then because you don't want to walk on concrete with those uneven studs. It's really dangerous if they slip, if they spook, if they cut themselves. They're horses. We all know. So he's going to go back and he's going to ice for 20 minutes, right? And he has these big, awesome boots that come well above his knee, and you're going to pour cold water in there and ice. And he's done it 1,000 times. He just stands there. He hates it. Such is life. 20 minutes is up, and he knows when it's 19 minutes and 30 seconds because he's like, I'm going to take these off if you don't take them off of me. So just fist fight the last 30. And then you're going to take those off, and you're going to put them on behind. And then you're going to decide. You're going to run your hands down those legs and feel. Do you feel any hot spots? Do his feet feel hot? Does anything feel warm and suspicious? Do I need to ice again after 20 minutes? Hale generally doesn't need to ice again. I will ice him again if it was a particularly deep footing or a bad course or we had a stumble or something. But usually I know his legs really well. I know what they feel like. So you're going to ice for 20. If everything feels kosher, my massage girl is going to work on him for a while, pulse everything, see where the sore spots are. We knew that stifle was irritated and how to rub on it. So we treated that. And he was really careful because it's FEI. So you need to make sure that anything that you put on your horse, poultice, triple, it can't have any of those substances on it that are forbidden. So you have to be really mindful about what's in your vet kit. So of course my vet kit was put together by my sister and my super groom, and everything was legal. And so then you're going to poultice those legs after he's been worked on. And then that night after he's hand grazed 1,000 times, because you don't want them to run that hard and then sit in their stall. He can run hard, he can ice, and then we'll give him a little bit of downtime to eat or pee or whatever, chill. And then he needs to go graze or he needs to hand walk or whatever, because that's a lot of cardio and then just to sit in a stall. And then you're going to jog him that night and you're going to see it's not a matter of if they're lame, it's a matter of how lame. And by lame, I mean body sore. How ouchy are they from sprinting that hard and jumping that high and then sitting in a stall or sitting still? Because lactic acid buildup is a real thing. So that was kind of something I had to learn when I started doing the stars is it's not a matter of how ouchy your horse is that night or if they're ouchy. It's a matter of how ouchy and what you need to do for it. So for Hale, I jogged him for my vet. We determined that stifle was a little bit sore. So then my massage girl was working on that. It got pulsed. Like I said, it got iced. It got treated. He got hand walked a ton. And then he got to go to bed early. And then I was at the barn the next day by 5 a.m. and I was on him by 5:30. And we did a long and low stretchy walk track canter for 30 minutes. And then after he did that, he got worked on again, massage and everything. I don't think we had to do anything with the stifle that morning because we done it that night. And then you're grooming and prepping for the jog. But I mean, that's an early morning and it's a late night. And then you're doing your jog, and then they're going right back to the barn. And they're getting that back on track blanket on, and they're getting those back on track boots on. Because now I got to run over and go walk my course quick because it wasn't open last night to walk. I got to walk that so I can run back and saddle up. So there's a lot that goes into making sure that your horse feels good after you go that hard.
I think Megan and I can relate. Megan, you remember some running races we ran?
No, no.
How sore we were?
Oh, it
No.
was awful.
The half
I try to forget
marathon.
those moments.
Yeah. So I can relate the horse and the lactic acid and the soreness and the stiffness.
Well, I
And
was
I,
sore the night too. Like the adrenaline, but also like, holding that 2 point and galloping and then sitting up big time for half halting for those big fences. And when you have a horse that jumps as hard as hail does, like that impact, like your lower back hurts, your calves hurt, your knees hurt. Like that night, I think I took a couple ibuprofen and went to bed at like 9,
do you
8:30.
cold plunge?
I did not for this one. I don't usually because they give me migraines.
Oh, see, it, if you ever do, which you probably won't, I know a great place in Kentucky where there's a cold plunge. So for
Nice.
nationals, every night that's where I was cold
There you
plunging.
go.
So
Yeah,
I'm with the horse. It's awful.
I would love to. I just
Yeah.
get like adrenaline migraines. I had a migraine
Yeah.
the entire time during Kentucky, except when I was riding.
Oh,
So like for me,
awful.
I like lived with the pulse machine on my body, trying to like
Oh.
get relief. But it's just a really stressful week that you're there. You're
Yeah.
thousands of people are watching you ride and hopefully not mess up. But it's really stressful. So I pretty much had a stress migraine the entire time. But anytime I have to do any icing, it gives me a headache, a really bad one, and I'm like, I just am not interested in that. So
Can you can you explain the stars? One,
yeah,
two, three, 4, 5.
yeah.
What are they?
So 1 star is now going to be a modified level. So that's a 3'5" level. You do need to qualify, right? You don't get to just move up to modified and run a star. You have to have a certain dressage score below a certain number, and you can have a certain amount of jump penalties and a certain amount of show jump penalties, and it has to be within a couple shows. Like it needs to be like you need to have 4 runs at modified, excuse me, with this qualifier before you can go run a 1 star. So that's modified. And then 2 star is the preliminary level, right? And the qualifications, the MERs are mandatory eligibility requirement, um, is usually pretty close to the same as it is for every level. But then you start having like the 2 star long versus the 2 star short. The short is going to be usually you're going to run probably the same distance course as a normal preliminary. A long is going to be a longer format. It's a true test of endurance, right? But you usually have to run a short before you can run a long. I don't think that's at the prelim level, though. I think prelim, you can kind of mix and match. 3 star, intermediate level. You have to run a certain amount of shorts, 3 star short, so the short cross country, before you can run a 3 star long. So, like the long that I ran in Montana was a 9.5 minute cross country course versus usually you're looking at like 6 to 7, right? So it's a longer distance. Can also be a little bit more technical. Show jumping can be a little bit bigger. Cross country can have some bigger fences, and you're also going to have 2 mandatory jogs at a long. A short, they don't even have to do an official jog. You will always have to get off the trailer and do a jog for a vet, check the temperature, stuff like that to make sure that your horse is good to go. But the longs have the jogs in them, but also for a long format, show jumping must be last. For a short, show jumping can be before cross country. So then you get to 4 star. For short, like Kentucky, is a shorter course than like the long was, right? But because Kentucky is special, they do show jumping last. They're not required to, but short is a little bit, you can kind of do what you want. A 4 star long is a longer cross country, right? You're required to do show jumping last. You're going to have those 2 jogs, and you have to do a certain amount of shorts to do a long, and then you have to do a certain. So, like, I'm not personally qualified for a long yet. I need to do another 4 star short, and then I can decide if I need to do a 4 star long. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Haven't decided. In order to do a 5 star long, you must do a certain amount of 4 star longs, and you must have a certain. You can't have had cross country stops. You can't have had a certain amount of rails. Like it is, those place markers are in place there to make sure that people don't move horses up too fast, right? So it is organized in a way that you are making sure that you're doing right by your horse, but also you have to do a lot of shows to get there, and it's you've got a certain window of time
Yeah.
that you have to do these into. So it gets to be the bit of a push on the horse, which I don't love. I haven't decided if I need to do a 5 long yet. I'm not qualified, so I don't have to worry about it quite yet. But there are certain parameters in place to make sure that you are doing it right by you and right by your horse, right? Because there's a lot of talented horses out there who do it because they have really big hearts, but not necessarily because they should.
Yeah. And a 5-star is that Olympic level or is it 4-star? I cannot remember.
4-star,
It's 4-star, right? So
yes. And that's because not every country has the ability to get to a 5-star. So the Olympics is very much about the world, right? So it's going to be a 4-star level show so that any country has the ability to get to that. Whereas 5-stars, not that many of them. It's a lot harder for some of those countries to have accessibility or to be able to qualify for a 5. So the Olympics is technically a lower level than your Kentucky 5 long is.
And the other big 5-stars are going to be like Burley, and what are the other ones in the world?
You got Burley, Badminton, Lemieux. Have Maryland. I think there's some other ones, but not on top of all. Poe, Adelaide. Yeah. So you've got a handful, but they only run once a year. There's not that many of them. So, and they're all in a specific kind of time of the year. Like Kentucky's early. So like all of us are cracking down in early spring because like you're trying to hit Kentucky. Well, that's in April. Well, for the Midwest, we might have snow on the ground in April yet. So timing is a little tough. And then I think Kentucky's back to back with badminton. Yeah. Those are back to back weekends. So you're probably not hitting both.
So you were down there in Kentucky schmoozing with the Olympians. What was that experience like?
It was really cool. Like I went and talked to Michael Young they have like a big party for the show, and it was held at some big race sale facility that I cannot for the life of me remember. It wasn't Fasig Tipton. Was it Fasig Tipton? Sorry, my friend's back here. Yes, it was at Fasig Tipton, and you're just out there with everybody, and you're all like dressed up nice, so you don't really recognize anyone because none of you are in breeches. And you're like, who are these people with makeup on? I don't know them. So I actually walked up to Michael Young and talked to him because he was standing by himself, and I was like, oh, hey, welcome to Kentucky. We're really excited to have you back. Hope you have a great weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I was about to walk away, and then he like turned and he was like, who are you and what level are you doing? And he was so excited that someone was just talking to him normal and not making a big deal out of him. And I was just like, oh, I'm running the 4, blah, blah, blah. And he was just really normal to talk to. I mean, he had a strong German accent, but he was really great and he was really kind and he was really excited. But he was just mostly excited to be talked to. Like he was just a normal person. And most of the people are. They're just horse people who really like horses. So
what's your next goal you're going to tackle?
So we've got the Morven 4 short coming up in 3 weeks. So we're hoping to have another good 4-star short run. And then he'll get some time off. And by time off, I mean he'll get like 2 weeks off before he gets grumpy. And then we'll start riding bareback. And then we'll get fit and we'll go to Florida sometime in January. And then I kind of need to determine what I need from there. Do I want to, if that 4 short goes well and I'm qualified for a 4 long, do I need to go 4 long? Or am I content hitting a 4 short? And then if I go to a 4 long, do I want to hit a 5 long? Or am I content going 4 long? So I've got some decisions to make. And nobody can make those for me. That's all on me and Hale, and he's 16. He'll be 17 in February. So I also need to think about what's right for him. Whether it be he tells me someday that he's done jumping really big jumps. I don't think that's what's coming because he was delighted by how big they were at Kentucky. He thought that was the greatest thing ever, and he was very disrespectful at the 3 long in Montana. I can assure you that. He was borderline running away with me. We had a frangible because he was like, "Oh, these aren't even that big," and I was like, "These are big, and you're being rude." So he's a monster. So I just kind of need to make some decisions about like what I feel I need to do, but also like what he feels good about. He hasn't told me he needs to slow down yet, but I definitely don't want to break him. I would like to retire him sound someday. Maybe he can take someone around a lower level, but I don't see him being safe for that. So I don't really know about that. Maybe someday. He's a monster, truly. And Andy Passwell, my dressage coach, would also tell you he's a monster because she's ridden him and she's like, he's bad. I'm like, I know. So I have some decisions to make. I don't want to break him. I also just don't know with the pressure of going the upper level and how you start to deal with some of those people who are frustrated that you haven't taken their trip to the top. I don't know how much of that I need to deal with. Again, that's been interesting to navigate. So I've got some decisions to make, but they're all my decisions, and I don't, Hale's owners are wonderful, and John and Dorothy are never going to be like, you need to do this. They're like, do you want to go to Europe? Do you want to stay in the US? Like, what do you want to do, Allie? And I'm like, oh God, these are such adulty decisions I have to make. So it's been some navigating of what I want out of life. But as a girl who was just going to run intermediate like once, we are well ahead of where I thought we'd ever be. So, I think I can handle a few tough decisions.
And what does your husband think about all of this? Is he supportive?
Oh yeah.
And horses? Is he in horses?
He is not. He is not in horses. He never wants to be in horses. He's wildly supportive. When I first was like, "Hey, hon, I think I'm gonna like stay in Kentucky longer or Florida longer, and like maybe aim for Kentucky, like Rolex," and I was like, "Yeah, that show, yes, that one." He was like, "Heck yeah, I'm not gonna stand in your way. Like you stay down there, girl. Like you do it." And I was like, "Okay." So he's been very supportive, and of course, going to Florida is tough because we're apart. It's 1,200 miles away. But he's like, I'm never going to be the reason you don't achieve great things. So you go, you do it. We'll figure it out financially. Like I try to pay all of my own bills, teaching and writing, but that's real hard to do when you're working at a tack shop in Florida. And I have Hale, but I also have like my baby horse who's up and coming to a novice. Like she costs money too. So he's like, you focus on you. We'll figure it out. Just focus on the dream right now. So he's been wildly supportive. Does he think I'm crazy? Yes. Like, but he was in the vet box. He was watching all the TVs, and he's like, I just wanted you to come home safe. That's all I wanted. I didn't really care how you did. So, I mean, he is competitive though too, and he obviously doesn't want me to have the stop or the run out, but he's mostly just concerned that I come home safe. He's my high school sweetheart, so we've been married 10 years, and he's wonderful, and he's patient, and he's got a lot more patience than I do.
So he knew going in. You guys are high
He
school
knew
sweethearts.
going
He knew
in
you
when I
knew
was
you were a horse
16.
girl. He knew what he was getting himself into.
Yes, he
That's
did
good.
know. 17, 17. And I was like, so here's this fun thing that I do. Ha 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 ha. The first horse show I took him to, I was showing like 3 horses, and he was like, this is your life? And I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, I guess I can adapt. He's adapted quite well.
That's awesome. So did we talk about like how you guys found the horse Hale and
Hale,
what his
yeah,
like did he race like
yes, he
how'd you
did
find
race.
him?
Hale was a terrible racehorse. Terrible. He had zero interest in that. Like if you see the video of his races, like you see the pack and then they like follow the leader and like Hale's panned out of the screen because he's so far behind. And he's like a peanut. And Hale likes going fast now, but back then he was like, no, that's for the birds. So I used to work for John and Dorothy Crowell for 3.5 years, and he was John's horse. And John got him all the way up to the intermediate level. And then John used to groom for Karen O'Connor. So John's been going to horse shows for a long time, long time. And he was like, I'm done going to horse shows. I'm done being that stressed out. I'm done spending a ton of money. And Hale's sitting in a field. I had lost 3 horses 4 years in a row, kind of. Freak accidents, freak luck. It wasn't poor grooming. It just was like one of them had a hole in her diaphragm and her small intestines drifted up to it and she bled out to death. Like, yeah, that's not poor horsemanship. That's freak luck. And then I had another one that had a abscess drift upward instead of downward and burst into a tendon, and I put him through surgery, and his ankle or his fetlock still sunk to the ground and it all tore. Like it just freak things. And then I had one like essentially get like gangrene and his body threw a blood clot and his leg pretty much died. Yeah. Yeah. Freak things. You didn't even know horses could die from that until it happens. And so I was kind of just starting to wonder if I was just meant to be a coach, not a rider. And then John called me and was like, Hale's just sitting in a field. Do you want the ride? And I was like, have you seen my track record? Like, it's not real great. Like, are you sure you want to send your horse to me to die? Because that's what's going to happen. And he was like, he's not going to die. I'll even do a vetting for you so you know he's in good health. I was like, oh, great. You're going to send me a healthy horse that I'm going to kill. Perfect. And I talked to my husband about it, and I was like, what do you think? Like, this is a big risk. Like, I know Hale. I've known Hale for a long time. I used to hack Hale for John when he'd go deer hunting up with his dad in Michigan. Like, we'd ridden each other's horses for each other. I'd known Hale for a long time, and I loved him, but he was a snarky little jerk. And so I kind of knew what I was taking on, and I was like, oof, that's going to be a lot. Like, there's a lot of attitude to tame there. And the first time I jumped him, he tried to absolutely unload me. I was like, perfect. This is going to go great. So I took him on, and I picked him up. A client picked him up for me when she was at a show in Kentucky, and I picked him up at a truck stop in Sun Prairie. Yeah, like amidst all these semis, like it was like a sketchy horse drug deal. Yeah. And I brought him home and he was like this fat little out of shape, crusty necked little beast with horrible manners. And I was like, this is going to be amazing. And we did a lot of dressage, like a lot of dressage, a lot. So much dressage. He just crammed it on his throat. And I was like, you're going to be good at this and you're going to like it. And then we just kind of slowly worked our way up. Our first beginner novice, he ran off with me and I brought him to a sliding stop in the middle of cross country. And I was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that here. And then just, did a novice. That went well. Then we did a training in the spring. That went great. Did another training, did a modified because it was new level. And I was like, this sounds great. Let's do it. Did a prelim in pink. That went great. Did another prelim in Florida. He was supposed to go to Florida one winter after we did the novice or maybe the training. It was already the training. He was supposed to go to Florida and his neck he had allergic reaction to a shot and he abscessed out of his neck like a baseball or not a baseball, a basketball sized lump under his neck. You know those horror stories vets tell you about like things that can happen with shots? It happened. And I cried for like a week, honestly, because I thought I killed him. And we'd like drain his neck out every day and flush it. And I was like gagging, like, oh God, this is disgusting. So we didn't get to go to Florida that year. Yep, it was gross. But it made us closer, I think, in a weird traumatic bonding way. Then we went to Florida and we ran more prelims because they changed how many you had to run before you can go to intermediate. So we ran a bunch of those, moved up to intermediate, had an amazing first run intermediate, won it, ran intermediate all summer. It was amazing. Ran, I don't even know. Then we had a bout of cellulitis and he had to stay in an equine hospital for a week. That was very expensive and my insurance company did not love that. I did not love that. I thought for sure he was dying. He wasn't. Paid for that. And then we went to Florida with the plan of I think I'd like to run an advanced once. And here we are.
That's awesome. I love it.
It was a quest.
Keep going, woman. I think it's great. Fuck the haters. You just
Literally.
keep doing you, girl. Stay in your lane, put the blinkers on, and have a blast.
That's
And
pretty
then-
much what we've been doing.
Yeah, and you have a new horse. You have young horses coming up. Tell us a little bit about them.
So I have a really cool 4-year-old right now. Her name is Break the Brules. Brules are like glass ceiling, women aren't as fast as men, like any of those like stupid, annoying things. Those are Brules. So she's Break the Brules. Her name's Lily. I got her from Rosie Napravnik. And she's really cool. And I bought her not really knowing if she was like my next up and coming or if I was going to sell her. I didn't really know. Rosie had posted a small video of her on Facebook and Dorothy texted me and was like, hey, I found your next horse. And I was like, I'm in the market? Like, I didn't know. Who's buying it? I don't have money. So I watched a video of her and I texted Rosie about her because I've known Rosie for a couple of years. And I was like, oh, she's kind of cool. But I seriously have no money. So then, much to my husband's horror, I asked my father-in-law, I was like, hey, do you want to go on a horse together? Because my father-in-law and I we have a special relationship and we buy horses together and neither of our spouses need to know about it. And it's fine. And no one needs to worry about it, especially if I buy horses that match Hale and he doesn't know the difference. You know what they say, just buy horses that match and your spouse doesn't know. So I bought her and I was like, well, I don't really know what you're going to be. You're 3. So like, we'll see. Took her to Florida and she just like got to go schooling here and got to go schooling there and go to a lesson over here. And then we'd go to that little schooling jumper show and we would do the things. And she was pretty game. And I was like, you're kind of cool. Like, you're kind of a good time. And then she came home and she did some beginner novices in the spring and she was like all about it, green, but all about it. And she got 4th. And the first show, I just like schooled cross country. Like, I think I was on cross country for like 7 minutes. I was like, I don't really care about the time. Like, we're here to get experience on a new place. And we bebopped all around. And I think someone had to pass us and we didn't care. We were having a great time. And then we did dressage all summer and she like blossomed and grew up. And I was like, oh, you're quite nice. Oh, you're like super nice. And she matches Hale. How am I supposed to say no to that? And then we just ran our first novice last weekend and she got 3rd in the open division on a 26 in dressage, which is like a 73%. Yeah. And then once again, we kind of took our time on cross country because I was like, well, we're going to school that extra ditch and we're going to school that extra water, like, because you're 4. Because she's 4, right? She like just turned 4. Like, we're going to take all the time because I want you to be amazing. So we probably could have won it, I'm sure. And if I hadn't had a migraine on Sunday and been trying not to throw up during show jumping, I'm sure I would have done better than 2 rails. But I'm human too. So she got 3rd at her first open novice, and I'm thrilled with dressage because like if you don't have the flat work, you don't have the jumping. And she's got it all, and I'm sure if I didn't jump up her neck because I felt pukey, she might have left those rails up. But, girls got to make some mistakes. So she's really cool. We're hoping to do another horse trial this fall if it all works out. We're currently entered, but they don't have a lot of entries right now, so maybe they'll cancel. Or maybe they won't. I don't know. But she'll go to Florida and she'll go to the shows and she'll do the things and she'll tell me what she's ready for and what she's not. And if we're at novice for a year, great. And if she wants to move to training when she's 5, super. I'm not big on rushing horses. I was at intermediate for 2 years before I moved up on Hale to advanced because I was like, I'm going to sit here for a long time. Also, I thought that's where we were capping out because I was good. So, surprise. I was going to run like a 3-star and we were going to do that. And then we won it. And then everyone was like, run another one. And then we won that one. And I was like, what is happening? Apparently, that's weird when you do that. So, don't worry. We botched the 3rd one. So, it's fine. But then we got 6th at our first long. So, that was amazing. But yeah, so she's going to do things and spend my money, I'm sure. And we'll see. And her and Hale love each other, so that's perfect. Now I can't tell her.
What breed is she?
She's a thoroughbred.
Thoroughbred. Where'd you find? So didn't race though. It sounds like.
So I got her, from Rosie, and I don't know if she was a homebred or if she did race. She doesn't understand going fast, so I feel like I don't think she raced because I thought we were going kind of fast on cross country last weekend, and I saw the video and I was like, oh, you were baby horse fast. Your legs were everywhere, but we weren't really going anywhere.
Like a
So
mixer underneath you.
yeah, where you're like, wow, I don't know what's going on, and then you watch the video and you're like, aw, you're so cute. Your legs are going everywhere. But she over jumped everything. So I obviously bought a photo because I was like, I want to remember that. It's so fun going novice. It's so stress free compared to going 4-star.
A little bit of a difference there.
Little bit chaotically different, but enjoyable in a wildly different way. Like getting a baby horse around their first horse trial at beginner novice is as satisfying as going 4-star, right? Because you created that baby horse and you going at a horse trial is a perfect measurement of your training. Have you made sure that they've seen everything that they're going to see out here today? Have you done your homework? Or are you traumatizing that young horse because you didn't do your homework? And so it's a great measurement. So you finish that beginner novice and you're like, heck yeah, we did it. We jumped all the jumps. And was it a little scary at some points? And was my equitation between fences a little weird? Yeah. But I stayed on and you jumped everything and you seem pretty pleased with yourself. As far as she knows, she already ran around Kentucky. She doesn't know. And she loved it. So going around her at novice and having an incredible run and getting 3rd is just as satisfying in a different way as taking Hale around the big stuff, right? Because Hale had already gone 1 intermediate by the time I got him. So it's not like I got Hale to intermediate. He'd already gone there. Did we polish things up? Yeah. Did I get him to advance first? For sure. But all that legwork wasn't done by me. That was done by John. So getting to do it with Lily is a really great way to make sure that I know what I'm doing, and she's like a clean slate, and all of her bad experiences are either going to be created by me, but so are all of her good experiences, and her good attributes are also what I've given her. So it's really satisfying to know that what I've created so far is pretty good.
Love that. I love that. God, I could ask millions more questions. I do want to ask because you very briefly touched on it, and it's the safety thing and the vest. How long has the inflator vest been out now? And what did you think when you transitioned in and had to start using them? Because it went
Yeah.
through some. Am I wrong? Didn't it go through little design changes from the
Yeah.
initial?
The air vest actually came from the motorcycle sport bike racing world. And it took some finagling for them to figure out how to accommodate a saddle. Because if you think about it, when we're doing drop banks, we have to lean back, right? Well, if I lean back too far, is my air vest going to go off? And it does sometimes for some people. I've seen people run cross country courses where their vest inflated, either it malfunctioned or maybe they got popped out at the tack. And it's just far enough. I mean, they inflate in 0.4 seconds. And it can withstand the entire weight of my horse. I've been wearing an air vest since I was probably 16, 17. I had my very first sponsor was like, I want you to be safe, and bought it for me. I mean, I was a kid. I couldn't afford a $700 vest. And now in Europe, they're required. They're not required here in the US. It's just so expensive to require someone to pay a membership, pay the, entry fee and then also require them to buy a $700 vest. Like it's just a lot. So I've been wearing them for a long time. I wear them on everything. I wear them on the baby horses. Wear them on hail. I wear them all the time because I don't think you can ever be too safe. I mean, I've had air vests. God, when I was 17, 18, I flipped over a horse's head and I landed in a ditch and I would have hit my neck right on the ditch and probably broke my neck, but it inflated up and it protected my neck. Was I sore as heck the next day? Yeah. I didn't have a broken neck though. I don't think you can be too safe. And I've certainly lent mine out to kids too. When I was like, hey, you can't afford it and it's not going to cost you anything to wear mine today. And we just make sure that they've got enough room in the saddle, that it attaches to the strap that attaches to your stirrup bars. And you just measure that out, make sure you've got enough room for how far you need to sit back. You can't be perfect. You're going to make a mistake. Sometimes your vest is going to go off, whatever. But when I think about the bad falls I've had and how that air vest saved me that day from having broken ribs, a lot of them, there's some of them implode and some of them explode. So sometimes you're going to have sore ribs the next day, but I don't have a broken neck or tailbone because they blow up to protect your neck and they also blow down to protect your tailbone. And like I said, it can withstand the entire weight of a horse. So you're protecting bones, you're protecting guts, you're protecting a whole lot of important stuff. And does it maybe come at a price? Yeah, but I'd rather that than be in the ER the next day. So they've come a long way with the air vests. They've come a long way with the helmets. If I can, I'm privileged enough to now be sponsored by Hit Air. After Kentucky, they reached out and because they had saw I was wearing a Hit Air and I was wearing my old Hit Air vest and they reached out and they were like, we saw your ride and blah, blah, blah. And thanks for representing us. And I was like, do you want to sponsor me? And they were like, yes. So I was able to get a brand new, top of the line air vest and I was able to sell mine at a way cheaper rate to one of my clients who's like, man, I'd love to have one of those, but the price is steep. So I was able to sell my old one and get a brand new one at no cost. But to know that I have like the latest and greatest in technology when I'm doing the top of the sport is a great relief to know that while my sport is not safe, and there's many things we have in place to make it safe, it is not. I'm as safe as I can be.
That's phenomenal. It's really cool. And, there's always, you see out on social media, the videos of people forgetting to unclip them and inflating their reins to get off the horse.
I literally every horse I get off of, even if I do flat work, I'm always like looking down to check. It's like habit now, and thank God because one time I did jump off, and I remember being halfway down and being like, no, 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 and like frantically unclipping it, and like you see it at shows all the time. People being like, no, 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 because if you are standing next to your horse and that blows up, your horse is gone. They are leaving the scene, whether or not someone is holding on to them. They are leaving because their human doesn't normally blow up.
That's so funny. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm laughing so bad. But you are not wrong.
Things horses aren't used to,
They're not exactly silent when they inflate.
They are not. They are fast,
So,
they are loud.
and I understand that not all vests after they've inflated are the same way to, how do you say it? Reset them or
Deflate.
whatever? Deflate. And
Deflate.
then prep
Yeah.
again. And
It's kind of a pain. You need like this little special like wrench and you have to like unscrew the canister and then you have to like, and so when it inflates, like all these buttons open up, right? Because it's like a giant airbag. So then you have this, you're walking around like this, right? You get up and you feel like a bodybuilder. And so someone has to help you take it off. You literally cannot bend your arms to take it off. You're like, I help me. So someone has to unbutton it or unbuckle it. And then you have to take the canister out. And that's the only way the air can escape is from where the canister came from. So then you have to like hug the air vest and like squeeze all the air out of it like it's an air mattress. And you have to like rebutton all the buttons and squeeze it till it's flat. And then you have to like reapply a new canister. And you better make sure you follow directions because I've definitely wasted a $25 canister trying to put it in the stupid pin. And then I've blown the canister, not the vest up, and wasted $25. So like it requires patience, which like maybe isn't my strong point. But it did save me from a really bad fall that day. It does take some finessing. And if you're lucky, you don't have to replace the canister very often. So maybe you're not good at remembering how to replace the canister. And maybe you think you remember, but maybe it's changed. I don't know who I could be speaking for, but yeah. May have wasted a client's canister.
oops.
My bad. I was trying to help.
I love that. Those are awesome stories. And I think probably every eventer who has one has multiple stories like that?
And if we haven't gotten to use it on our horse, we have used it on our couch because we want to know.
Oh,
You
yeah,
have a friend push you and you hold onto the strap and they blow
yeah,
up. It's very
yeah,
satisfying.
yeah.
And you
What
get to
is
push your friend on the floor. So
what
it's good.
happens is have you ever had one go off mounted?
Mounted, like accidentally, like a malfunction or like
Like you were
falling on.
saying, back too far and she pops, and you're like,
I have not, but my friend Rosie actually was running a prelim or intermediate and hers went off just over a normal fence. She jumped it, did a 2 point over a fence, and it just blew up and she rode the rest of the course with a fully inflated vest. Yeah, like wide arms, Michelin man just running around. And she got it done. I guess
that,
I'm sure at some point the canisters probably get faulty if they're in there enough. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or you accidentally catch the, what do they
or you
call it?
just sit up too far or something. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Megan, you should try that.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I could probably get a lot more energy, like right in the middle of a pee off. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
I
Yeah.
think I think that's
I'm
the energy you'd be looking for. It might be hard to contain it. You might need a bigger bit, but you could get it done.
okay, let's do it.
Do it.
I'm on it.
I love
Steph?
it. I could totally. I know Megan's like, we should be done, but we really appreciate your time. I could listen to these stories because I love it. I love it. I
I could
lived.
talk forever. I have so many stories, but I literally just am a talker, so you have to cut me off. So
Oh, I would. Megan would kill me if I said let's keep going because I love the stories. I kind of my. I guess it was my college years. Was it an eventing barn? And yeah, I never really evented, and my horse just couldn't handle the jumping. But eventers are my people.
they are a special breed and it takes a lot to do this sport. It takes a lot financially, it takes a lot physically, it takes a lot mentally. Um, it's a really tough sport. So just to get there in that level from the Midwest, not being from money personally, um, and doing it on a thoroughbred, it really spoke to a lot of people in our area just to feel like one of their own did it. That was exciting for me too, having so many of Area 4's people reaching out, being like, you put Area 4 on the map today and you did it beautifully. That was really amazing. And so I think a lot of people can resonate with my story, knowing where I've come from. Like, I'm a people's person. Everybody knows me. I've met everyone. And doing this has not made me think I'm better than anyone. It has not made me feel I'm beyond anyone. I just feel like I'm a girl who had the right horse, the right time, the right experience, the right connections to get it done. And like I said, the connections I have are not the route that everyone else used. They're the route that worked for me. And it doesn't have to be the biggest name in the sport. Maybe it's just the dressage instructor that says the right things to you that makes it work. Maybe it's the show jump coach that isn't the one screaming at you, but maybe the one telling you and building you up and being like, hey, you are good at this. Right. And it's just having the right people in your corner is what makes the right cocktail to be successful. It's not necessarily the most expensive coach. It's not necessarily the most expensive horse. Maybe it's a horse who was kind of overlooked by a few other people and was put in a pasture. Um, and it just happened to happen at the right time for me. A lot of this stuff is timing. You guys know, you ride horses. A lot of it is luck and timing. I had a lot of horses die in my life and a lot of crappy things happen and everyone's like, "Oh, it was just your time to succeed." And I don't really believe in karma that way. I don't think anyone deserves more or less, but I think I just had the right cocktail of experience and people in my life to make it happen. And I'm more than happy to share my journey with anyone else or help them try to get there too. So,
We should quick talk about that. I was just thinking of pivoting in that direction. You've spoken a little bit about teaching and stuff. So do you get requests? You go out and do teach clinics around the country, or
when
do
I
you prefer to
can,
stay local, or what do you?
I'm fortunate enough to have my own barn, right, that my parents own that I teach out of. So I've got a lot of my own clients here. We have our cross country course. People can come take lessons here, show jump, dressage, cross country. And I do teach clinics when I can. Unfortunately, I have a voice disorder. I have vocal nodes. And so for me to teach about more than 4 lessons a day, I tend to lose my voice completely and I will have a whisper. So I taught a clinic in June and it kicked off my nodes really bad because I taught from 8 to 5 for Pony Club and it just toast. And it's really unfortunate because I really like teaching and talking um, and singing and stuff. I just can't do a lot of it. And it's a lifetime problem. I will struggle with it for the rest of my life. I've had to make peace with that. So I'm really limited by what I can do. It's not that I don't like doing clinics. I do. I just by the end of the clinic, I have a voice like this. I have nothing. I can't project at all. So
Yeah.
I teach when I can. I bring my coaches in whenever I can because they work for me. So I hope they work for other people. Um, but yeah, I'm open to it. I just am limited by it, unfortunately. So I end up doing a lot more riding than I get to do teaching, which is fine. I love riding, so it works out.
And
But
anyone watching this live stream, how should they get a hold of you?
they can find me on Facebook, either my personal page, Allie Kuhn, Kuhn Eventing Services, or the Team Hail Yeah page. They can message me. I'm also on Instagram, Allie Kuhn, but also Team Hail Yeah has an Instagram, and I'm pretty good about checking about it. I mean, that's how you found me. I'm fairly good about checking on that. They can find that also our website. I think it's sundancefarm.net. You can contact myself or my mom, who got me all the way to the prelim and was an excellent coach. But after a while, like, it's hard to hear your own parents, right? They taught you for so long. Maybe that's not everyone's experience, but she taught me for so long that you stop being able to hear their voice anymore, right? Because it's the same things. So she's incredible. She teaches tons of kids lessons. She's also taught up through prelim, and she certainly has yelled at me just last week for doing weird stuff over fences. So both of us are on there. I offer training. I do commission sales. I do sales when I have time to like bring a horse up, um, lessons, the whole deal. So you can find us on there, and we'd be happy to help you out or direct you to someone who can if we can't.
That's awesome. Where's your sister? Did you say you're like the greater Ocala area or are you southern
Yeah,
Florida?
she's
Okay.
right in Ocala. She doesn't teach professionally anymore. She did 4-star, and she also did Grand Prix dressage with that same horse.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
Milo is 19 now, but she did, yeah, both. And now she works for Ida Development, and they do barn building and stuff like that. She just decided that the stress of the equine world and relying on horses for money was maybe a bit much. So, yeah, she's like a normal like 9 to 5 job or 11 to 5 job, and like makes normal people money and has a life. It's crazy. I don't know what that's like. I fantasize about it often though. So she is in Ocala, and I'm fortunate enough to go stay with her and stay with her a couple months of the year. And she yells at me now and then too, because she, like I said, she still knows what she's doing, and I love taking her on course walks with me. And it's just nice to have somebody else who's been there, done that, but they're in a familial capacity where she can make fun of me, you know, and keep it really lighthearted. Because she has zero problem making fun of me, by the way, at any point. But she also is the one that completely outfitted my trailer in bright pink and my textile and my stall front and every pink bucket and pink pitchfork that I own. So she is my best supporter. She's the greatest groom. She's free for me only. But yeah, she's the greatest. So she's in Florida, and she'll be up here for the horse trail next week. She also does our course decorating because she's retentive that way.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
it. You got the sibling poke that you
Yeah.
can
I
get.
mean, she put a little pink bow. If you see the jog up videos from Kentucky and Hale's forelock, you see a little pink bow in his forelock up on the jog up, and that was all her. So I had nothing to do with that. I wasn't allowed to touch it. I was allowed to jog my horse, and that was it. So yeah, she's a gem.
I love that. That just makes me laugh so much.
She's
I
the
poke
best.
Megan a little. We're not related or anything, but I just poke Megan.
It's best that way. Someone to keep it lighthearted.
Yeah, good fun. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we've been on for about an hour and a half now, and it's been so much fun. I love the stories. I just think they're so fun.
Of
Yeah,
course. Well,
thank
thanks for
you.
having me. I appreciate it. I love talking about Hale anytime I can. He's perfect in every way. 15 hands of anger in pink. So he is pretty cool dude. And like I said, there's pictures of him everywhere in my house now. And pretty memorable year. And hopefully we get to do it again. So thank you guys
Yeah,
so
so much for having me. Really
we
appreciate it. It
really
was really fun.
appreciate it. Yeah, this will be available if anybody ever wants to come back and watch it. It's going to be available on our YouTube channel all the time. I totally will be telling people to come watch because I love the stories. I think it's really inspirational for people to hear,
Yeah.
your story, that your thought process of, oh my God, am I really going to try this? I almost called it Rolex,
It
the
will forever
Kentucky
be
thing.
Rolex in my heart too.
I
Okay.
know.
I called it
Yeah.
Rolex. And then, oh, I don't even know if I told you guys. Do you know the Young Rider magazine owned by Chronicle of the Horse?
Mm-hmm.
They featured a picture of me in it, and I freaking sobbed because I grew up posting those posters on my wall as a kid. So they actually contacted my mom. They're like, "Listen, we're really excited. We're actually featuring Allie." I don't know why they didn't call me. I'm 33 years old. I don't know why they didn't call me, but to be featured in like your childhood iconic magazine, was the
It's
coolest thing ever. It's
amazing.
amazing, right? So
Yeah.
obviously I own like 100 copies. But yeah, just really cool. And I'm just a normal gal from Wisconsin who did it.
Yeah.
So anybody can.
We love
Well,
it. We love it.
we're
You put the
rooting for
four on
you,
the map, but also
Wisconsin girls.
Wisconsin. Yeah,
Woo woo, we gotta stick together.
that's
We
right.
sure do.
Eat the cheese.
Eat the cheese. Like I tell people, this oh my God. Steady diet of cheese is what got me through Kentucky. Because my husband
Yeah.
works for Sargento. So
Oh, I'm kind of jealous. I love
honestly,
me. All
maybe
things
that's what put me
Sargento.
ahead and got me to a 4-star. Was that
Yeah,
access? That could be it. I don't know.
it's the cheese.
Probably.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate your time, and I hope we didn't stress your voice too bad. I mean, it's been an
No,
hour and a half of talking.
it's okay today. It'll be this week. Will be tough though with all the yelling at the horse trial. That'll be a lot, but it's okay today. But thank you. It's good.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. You have an amazing season. We'll be cheering you on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Have a good one,
Absolutely.
guys.
Have a good
Bye.
night. Well, Megan, that was awesome. I hope you're having a good night.
Oh yeah, she was a blast.
I love the stories. That's the best part of doing these lives is the cool stories we get to hear about. So it's
That's
fun.
wonderful. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
super excited for her.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. She did. She put Wisconsin back on the map. I love it.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Well, thanks to everybody. Make sure you're subscribed. And like we said, you can definitely go back and watch this video on YouTube. It's great. That's what we love YouTube for.
Yep, I'll share it. Well, have a good night,
All right.
Steffaroonie.
Thanks everybody. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.